They can't afford to repay college. They figured out that was a sucker's bet. They got loaded with debt for nothing. It doesn't turn out that the philosophy or sociology degree does anything for you. What doesn't teach practical, pragmatic skills. And then you look at what's happening in their personal lives. I mean, like you've been on with Fresh and Fit and some of those folks. You look at young men. 2/3 of young men don't date anybody within a year in America.
Yeah.
That has never turned out well. There's the reason why we have monogamy and all these religious traditions is because it turned out when like 10% of the men were hogging 80% of the women, it didn't sit well with 80% of the men, and they tended to do something about it. And then they were like, well,
it sounds funny,
maybe
but it's true. Yeah.
and they're like, maybe we need to guarantee there's got to be some women available. I mean, the Vikings started conquering the whole world because they didn't have enough women. So it just doesn't work out well, but it's happening to young men especially. And then young men are attacked for just being men. Toxic masculinity, all that nonsense. Every game or movie or comic they like has been ripped away from them. So there's just been a war on young people in America and in the West. And it's economic, it's cultural, it's political. And that was the group Democrats were depending on. And they have abandoned Biden entirely. So that's where there's the only way that it's going to be weekend at Biden's for the next 4 years if they get him in, because the extraordinary thing is the alternatives are even more unpopular. People dislike Kamala Harris even more. They dislike Gavin Newsom even more than Joe Biden. But Joe Biden has ridiculously low approval ratings.
I was just going to ask you about that.
I mean, yeah, it's in the low 30s. I mean, it's the lowest of any president ever. And the amazing thing is the economy isn't even officially in recession yet. So I mean, what happens when it's officially in recession? What happens when the unemployment numbers start officially ticking up? What happens when the system recognizes what's happening that ordinary young people are experiencing, which is real wages have declined for 3 years straight under Biden, particularly for working and middle-class people in America. And then when they see billions going to foreign countries, doesn't matter whether it's Israel or Ukraine, they just see billions over for their borders, but none for us. And so they see that dynamic, and Biden is basically a dead man walking.